are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to a very special episode of our ongoing series we call Behind the Geeks. If you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast focusing on the world of movies, TV shows, toys, and collectibles, and all things geek-centric. Joining me for this Hulk-sized special episode is my very own Hulk of a man, Justin Lawrence. How are you doing, Justin?
Hulk smash, bro. How are you, dude?
Yo, Hulk smash. I'm ready to get Hulk smash. You know what I'm talking about? You hit up the bar and, you know.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know who else knows what you're talking about? It's Kevin Hudson. He knows all about
he gets Hulk smash.
Yeah. He's hulked for sure. So you wanna Hulk smash, definitely connect.
Well, I was watching the trailer for this series for She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and in it, Bruce Banner mentions that spandex is a Hulk's best friend. I gotta ask, Justin, what's your experience with spandex?
Oh, dude, stretch. You gotta go with stretch. I have a pair of jeans that I specifically love because it has more stretch. I can do like lunges in them versus like other pairs of pants that are just super stiff. Yeah. Like they're just stiff leg and I'm tall. So, and I got legs and I got a waist. So I need that stretch. I can totally empathize with Banner's sentiment. You know, elastic is a Hulk's best friend for sure. I don't doubt that. Yeah.
You got to get a good stretchiness in your pants every now and then. I think the stretchier, the better. Plus I think it would help with chafing. You know what I mean? Like they've got those Hulks have big thighs, right? So when they run, that's got to be some Hulk-sized chafing. So the tightness of it might kind of I don't know.
I have never thought of it that way. That's a very interesting. I wonder if they have like a powder too to just maybe for
right?
It could be a thing. Yeah,
they got
for sure.
They got to have a Hulk powder. Well, listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably tell by our lighting that yes, we have some incredible. See what I did there, Justin? Incredible.
So clever. Incredibly clever. That was incredibly clever.
You.
There you go.
I'm a smart Hulk. I'm a smart Hulk. We have some incredible guests joining us for this episode. Justin, not one, but two incredible creators from She-Hulk Attorney at Law are joining us. Both Kat Coiro, director of 6 of the episodes of this series, as well as Jessica Gao, who's the head writer for the series, who are going to be joining us momentarily. But before we get to those interviews, I want to remind you listening that this week is going to be our She-Hulk week with our spoiler-free review dropping this Wednesday and our first episode of our weekly breakdown series, Watch Club, that's going to be dropping on Thursday. So you can watch the premiere episode and then you can get into our thoughts and our theories and our conversations right after. Justin, what do you think? Should we just get to these interviews?
Well, before we do, I just wanted to say again, it is awesome that our friends at Disney Canada are hooking us up and allowing us to take part in this press coverage. It really means a lot. So, but yeah, to have two, I think you could basically call them showrunners for this series to be guests on this podcast. It's an absolute honor. So I hope you enjoy the interviews. So
let's get to it. Here is our interviews with both Jessica Gao and Kat Coiro.
Hi, Jessica. My name is Justin. I'm from the Geekcentric podcast. How are you?
Hi, it's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. I'm very excited to talk to you about this show. In doing some research about you and the work that you've done, I came across an interview where you were talking about how you started out as a fine arts major, passionate about comics, and didn't know what you really wanted to do with that degree. And you found the path to writing. How does it feel now writing a show based on the characters of those comics that you grew up with?
I mean, it's totally surreal. If I could go back in time and tell my younger self, I mean, she would definitely not believe me. Like truly, it's completely surreal. Even just a few years ago, my goal in life was to write something, like write a Marvel movie, because this was before they ever made TV
Right.
shows. And it's just so crazy to like be sitting here today, you know, after so long.
Well overdue, I imagine. And the show is fantastic. And I've seen a few episodes and it's refreshingly different. When building out this series, what were key elements that you wanted to ensure define the series rather than just being a part of the MCU?
What I love about TV is that unlike the movies, you actually have the time and the space to really like sit with the character and live with them and like get to see their regular life, you know, because you can hang out with them week to week, you know, for half an hour at a time, and really get to know them. Whereas in the movies, it's always like high stakes. They're always busy saving the universe. They don't have time to like worry about anything else, which means that we don't get to see whether or not they have families, whether or not they have friends, you know, whether or not they do normal things. But of course, they're all still human. So at some point, there is going to be a day of the week where the universe does not need to be saved. And that's the day where they're going to have to do laundry. You know, they're going to have to go have dinner with their parents and listen to their mom, like tell them, when are you going to give me grandkids? You know, they're going to have to like fight with Spectrum Cable over like the coverage, you know, in their neighborhood. And so that's really where the show lives, is kind of seeing that those moments, the kind of minutia of everyday life.
Yeah, and I totally agree. It's just so human. And I know some writers will draw on their own experiences to help tell the stories that they want. I wanted to know, were you able to put yourself into this series beyond just the comedy? Because you're a very funny person by nature from everything I've seen. So,
well, the secret to television writing is really all we do in the writers' room is mine each other's lives. I mean, it's just constant cheating.
Right.
So we had a fantastic writing staff and we had so much fun in the writers' room because we just kind of sat around and like everybody told stories about, I mean, that's true of every writer's room I've been in. You sit around, everybody tells stories about their life experiences, weirdos that they've known, horrifically embarrassing situations that they've been in. You know, everybody kind of just shares all of their deepest, darkest secrets and all their trauma. And then we're like, great, now we're going to use it for comedy. Thank you. You know, like everybody, just all comedy writers are just using comedy as therapy. So
there's a very obvious satirical quality that seems to draw on very obvious real life story experiences. So my last question here, I know my time is limited. We can see that there's pros and cons to being a Hulk. I wanted to know, if you were a Hulk, how would you take advantages of those powers?
Oh, I mean, first and foremost, I just walk home alone at night every single day of the week. I'd walk everywhere with my headphones in, not a care in the world.
Right.
That's really,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a very sad little wish, but that is what I would do.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm loving this series. It's like, as you said, it's human, it's hilarious, it is down to earth, and it just shows that the MCU can be a lot of fun. And yeah, congratulations on the show, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Kat, welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. My name is Justin. How are you today?
Hi, Justin. I love your purple light.
Thank you. It's a little She-Hulk inspired. I will say that.
I see that. I love it.
Listen, the show is fantastic, and I am digging everything about it. And I got to ask the director, what's the magic? What do you think the magic is that keeps this Hulk-sized story so grounded?
I mean, I love that you lead with that, because the most important thing for me was grounding this show in reality. And even though our reality happens to include a whole hell of a lot of superheroes, it's still a very real world. And we're peeking behind the curtain to the everyday, sometimes even mundane life of a very reluctant superhero. And so it was always about finding the space within this action-packed, technically complicated MCU show to allow moments of intimacy, to allow moments of comedy, and to really feel a looseness even within this, enormous scope.
I love that response, because I think you've entirely achieved that with the first 4 episodes that I saw. I think it's absolutely so down to earth and very connected for anyone outside of just the MCU, just personal day-to-day life. I just think it's so relatable. And you've worked on a lot of shows that sort of deal with crazy or zany families. I know you've done work on Modern Family, It's Always Sunny, Shameless. Is there something about these kind of environments or those relationships that you feel drawn to?
Well, I have a very crazy, zany family now that you say it. And, it's true that I always pick projects based on the relatability. And can I bring something of myself to them? And do I see myself in these characters? And, I'm always drawn to a lot of heart and a lot of humor. And I think the best way to deal with life is with humor. And so I never pick things based on genre, but always on character and on, I think you can learn so much about yourself and about life through comedy.
Absolutely. It's a sort of a cathartic experience. Did you find that working on this project of She-Hulk, was it a cathartic experience?
I mean, one of the things that really resonated with me is any woman in this world has had the feeling of fear walking in a dark alley at night, or being hit on at a bar by a guy you don't want to be polite to, but you feel like if you're not polite, your life could be in danger. And there's a wish fulfillment in She-Hulk that I think every woman can look at and relate and go, oh my gosh, if I was in that dark alley, I could Hulk out and beat him up, or I could just tell that guy what I'm really thinking. And that was one thing that I think is really funny, and it's relatable to women, but I also think it's kind of a good insight for for men.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. I think it's very eye-opening for the entire audience, young, old, male, female. My last question here, I would love to know, I know you mentioned hulking out and things can get stressful and so on. I'd love to know, what do you do to relax? What is it? Are you chilling on a beach doing yoga, or are you hanging out with friends? What is it that gets you back and grounded?
Well, I have 3 children and a wonderful husband who also plays Donnie Blaze in the show.
Yes.
I have a dog and 26 chickens and 2 rabbits. And so, a little farm. And so really, relaxing for me is being with my family and the people that I love.
I love it. A little sanctuary. It's perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time, Kat. This series is great. Again, very human, very real. It deserves all the love. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a nice day.
Peace.
Bye.
And we're back. Dude, that was some pretty impressive interviewing you did there. Kudos to you, my man. That was pretty good.
It was a great experience, and it was great to learn more about both of them in their practices as writer and a director, and how they came together. And they definitely had a unified voice and vision that translated from writing to the screen. And I think that when people see this series, they are really going to understand a lot of what we're talking about, and what Kat and Jessica are talking about in regards to the level of realness, the humanity, the honesty to it that feels every day in this MC world. It's gonna be a blast.
I want to give a shout out to Jessica's shirt. Was absolutely incredible, by the way. I need to get a shirt like that. It's so colorful. Loved it. I love how she called out, like, how we get to sort of almost hang out with these characters, and you get to do that in a TV setting, whereas in a movie, in the MCU, you don't really get to do that as much. So I love that she talked about, like, there's always going to be one day of the week when the universe doesn't need to be saved, and then that's when we get to deal with, like, the everyday minutia, everyday life, and I think that's where this series really does put its focus, which is really cool to see. Yes. And we, it's still, I think, based off trailers and things, it still gets to a place where it's going to get zany with different characters and what have you. But I also like that she called out, like, as writers, basically they're just mining each other's lives. Like, they just tell stories to each other, and then those are the stories that then get put into the show, and using comedy as therapy, I think, makes a lot of sense. I also wanted to shout out like Kat Coiro. She was so warm and so lovely, and she was very complimentary of your lighting, by the way, which I thought was awesome. And I think the coolest thing about that, though, is how quickly she was able to answer all of your questions, because she didn't, she at no point in time did she really have to sort of sit back and think, which just shows how confident she is with what she's bringing to the show as a director, which I think is so important, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want that confidence to show up in the show itself. And so, yeah, man, I based off of what we've seen so far, I definitely do think they've nailed that. The show is dripping with confidence. And so Man, I thought it was great. I'm excited to see her husband apparently in the show as Donnie Blaze.
Yeah, man.
Who I haven't met, I haven't seen in the show yet, but I'm very interested. He looks. I've looked up pictures of him. He looks like he might be an interesting character.
Yeah, I found out obviously from watching the episode that he is in it, and researched who it was. I didn't make the connection that they were married, and that was the sort of surprise. I was like, oh, that's really cool that she was able to get her husband into this series, and I think that's really great. He's fantastic, and when you see him, you'll definitely get a chuckle. But with Jessica's interview, I was really impressed with how she really talked about the level of honesty and truth to the situations and the things that they wanted to kind of bring in. Even Kat very much referenced that in her response. They have a very distinct message that they're implying within this series that jumps off the screen and it's going to hit you. So yeah, y'all aren't ready for this. Like, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm so excited to get to break it down every single week. And I again, getting to talk to the people that make these incredible projects and get to work at Marvel is always phenomenal. So again, big shout out to Disney Plus Canada for hooking us up to get to talk to Kat and Jessica, and hopefully we'll get to have them back on the show one day. Maybe they're making something else that we love on Disney Plus or what have you.
Maybe a season 2, man.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for joining us, Jessica and Kat, and again, it was so delightful chatting with them, and just seeing again how much they're clearly imbuing themselves into this series.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's it for this Behind the Geeks episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to us both here on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts if you haven't already, because we've got so much She-Hulk content coming out. We've got our beyond these interviews, we've got our spoiler-free review coming out, and our weekly watch club dropping every single Thursday going forward. At least that's kind of the plan. And we also, if you're enjoying this content here on YouTube and want to maybe check out our podcasts beyond YouTube, we also have our weekly This Week in Geek episodes every single Wednesday, where we break down the latest trailers and news from around the Geekiverse. Also, one last thing, we're very excited to say that Geekcentric has been accredited for Fan Expo Canada. So we are going to be attending Fan Expo Canada 2022 in style, and you might be able to see some of that content here on YouTube, and definitely you'll be able to hear about some of that content on our podcast as well. So make sure you click all the bells, click all the things, subscribe to what you need to subscribe to so you can keep hearing this geeky goodness. Justin, thank you so much for joining me for this Hulk-sized episode of Behind the Geeks. And as we say, love ya.
Peace.